Hello and welcome back to this ninth session where we are going to discuss about methods and functions in Unity. Now, actually in Unity we had already used two methods, start and update. Apart from this, we can create our own methods and functions. So, first let us understand what does this method mean. Well, method means it is an operation. So, what you can call is methods can also be called as functions, where a set of commands are grouped together as code blocks and it is made to perform a specific task. So, now for example, to achieve this methods, what we have to do is, how are we going to use this method is, we must first declare and define our method. So, we have to declare it with a name, just like we declared the variable, we are going to declare our method and we are going to define it. Then once we have defined our method in our program, just defining the method will do nothing. It will be a code block lying in some place. For that to execute, you have to call it. You have to call that method. And I am going to give it with some real world example. Say for example, there is a mission that is to be done and that is to clean the room. So, in your house, your mother asks you to clean your room. So, this cleaning the room is a method or a function. So, she is going to declare a method or a process and says clean the room. Clean your room is a method or a function. So, it is just a word that a mother tells saying clean your room. But what does this clean your room may contain? Clean your room means it consists of various tasks. The very first task is you have to pick up and arrange all your clothes. So, in the bed many of your clothes may be lying, you have to pick them up and pack them up. Then if you have some garbages, you have to clean and throw out all the garbage items into the dustbin. Then you might have in your cupboard some unwanted project items lying and you have to now remove it and you have to clean it. So, now this entire steps, so clean your room is one method, but that method contains number of commands like pick up your clothes, so, clean the floor, then throw out the garbage, kill out all your old science projects item, destroy it. All these are called as statements or commands. So, a set of commands related to clean your room is grouped together and this entire group is called as a method. So, now before you start cleaning the room, what does cleaning the room means? Your mother is going to explain it to you. Cleaning the room means it is not just picking up the clothes. You have to pick up the clothes, you have to sweep the floor, you have to throw the dust into the dustbin, then you have to remove all the unwanted materials in the cupboard, dismantle it, throw it. So, there is a process written down and this entire process is predefined. Now, whenever weekly or monthly you have to do it, your mother is going to call it with just one term, clean your room, and that is what we call as the call method. Call method means we are going to call that particular function and execute that entire set of commands. So, now how are we going to that is, you can see here, go and clean your room. When the mother says, this is what we call as the call method. Now, when she says go and clean your room, these are the steps that you are supposed to perform. Now, how are we going to declare a method in Unity? The syntax is the name of the method is actually followed, that is before the name of your method, you have to add the kind of that is what type of method it is, whether that method is only going to perform any action or is it going to return some value. Say for example, in clean your room, you are not returning any value means we write a term called void. Void means it is not going to return any value. So we write void, and after void we write the name of our method, and the name of our method will be followed by an open parenthesis and close parenthesis. So why are we using this bracket is, in case of some methods we are going to give an argument or a parameter. Right now in this clean your room, even if there is no parameter, we have to compulsorily add this open parenthesis and close parenthesis. So how are we going to declare a method? First we are going to specify whether it is what value it is going to return, whether it will return an integer, boolean or number. So what does it return? We are going to mention it, and if it doesn't return anything, we call it as void. Then we put the name of our method followed by parenthesis, and after this our actual things to do are listed in a code block which lies between one open flower bracket and close flower bracket. We also call this as the curly braces. So the curly braces are available on your keyboard. With shift pressed, after P you have two keys. With shift pressed, when you click on those keys, you are going to get the curly braces. So we are going to actually put all our code between these two curly braces, and whatever exists between these two curly braces, we call this as the code blocks. Now here you can see clean your room is your function name. It is just telling you what to do, and if this function has any parameter or argument, then it will have one, it will be mentioned in open close bracket, and right now since it has no argument, this is empty. Empty means no parameter is required. Then void means this is not going to return any value. So this is the structure of declaring a method. So once we declare the method, we can also add some of the additional features to the method. The very first feature we are going to add is the argument or the parameter. Say for example, there are two common things that we can add when you call methods. The first is the parameter, or the first is actually what does that method return anything? Does it return any value? This is the first thing that you have to observe. The second is what is the parameter that needs to be specified to run that method. So these are the two terms you should know. Remember, if it doesn't return anything, we write it as void. If say for example, you have a method called as addition, and addition means in the parameter you have to give two numbers. So in the parameter we write it as addition, add, that is add is a parameter, and in open close parenthesis we are going to write integer a comma integer b. That means you have to give two numbers. Then with that two number, add what it has to do between the open braces and the close braces. We are going to write add, that is a plus b, and return a plus b. We say return a plus b, and when we declare this add, we are going to declare this add function as an integer. So we write int add, and in open close bracket we write int a int b, and then in between the open close flower bracket we are going to write return a plus b. So, now this is how you can add the parameter and the return statement. Now, when it comes to this, so if you take the real world example of cleaning the room, here we are going to declare the method and we are going to add a parameter, say for example deadline, and this deadline means in our code it means that you have to do this particular task before a particular time, and this pick up, clothes, throw out garbage, all these things has to be done before this deadline. And then we also add a condition wherein we are going to ask whether the room is dirty. So, if the room is dirty, yes or no, it has to return a boolean value. Then we are going to declare this clean your room as a boolean method. So, now I think you are getting a fair idea about what is a parameter and what is return. So, when we call this method, we are going to call this as, hey, clean your room, you have got 1 hour, and we are asking the question, is room dirty? Is room dirty is equal to clean your room, you have got 1 hour. So, now he is going to clean the room and he cleans it 1 hour and he returns the value. Is room dirty? If it is false, he returns false. If it is still dirty, he returns true. So, this is how we call the method. So, now I think you have understood the syntax of declaring the method. You have void clean your room. Void means when it is not returning anything, when it is not returning anything, we are going to use the word void. Then when we want certain parameters to be added, it will be added in the parenthesis, and whatever statements need to be executed, that will be put between this open and closed curly braces. So, now for example, here I put, if I want to return the value is room dirty, we are going to declare it as a bool, clean your room, and we are going to declare an integer time. Now, in things to do, we are going to set our deadline to the time and return is room dirty. So, if it is dirty, it will return true. If it is not dirty, it will return false. So, this is how we declare the method, and then when we are calling it, if it does not have any parameter or if it is a void statement, we are just going to type clean your room, open close parenthesis, and when you are calling, remember it should end with semicolon, because this is now a statement. Whereas, when you declare it, we are not going to put semicolon here. We are going to, when you are declaring, we put semicolon only to the commands that we execute between the curly braces. But when we are declaring the name of our method, we are not going to use semicolon. So, this you have to understand. So, after this, now you have now understood how to declare the method and how to call the method. So, then in the next session, see, now you have understood how to declare the method, how to call the method, and after this we are going to execute the code block, and this is how we declare the method: void clean your room, pick up clothes, clean garbage, kill mutated. All this comes under declare method, and call method you have going to call it just as clean your room. Now, you may ask, what about start and update? So, now in case of start and update, all those start and update are methods that is being called. We write private void start and we are not going to end it with colon. After start, again we put open close parenthesis and we are going to write the command. Is start and update a declaration or calling? You may ask. Well, some of the commands like start and update are built-in commands in Unity, which are an exception where you are actually calling that method and you are executing the commands. So, for example, in start you are going to add start and update will always be void, it is not going to return any value, but only thing is in start you are not going to give any parameter to it, but whatever you write between these parentheses, Unity will take care that whatever you write it in start will be executed at the start of the program, and whatever you write within the update will be executed every frame of your game or the program. Okay. So, we are defining start and update, but we are not calling them. Where are they called? It is the Unity's internal logic, and it is which is going to take care of calling them. So, in case of start and update we need not call them. If you just define, Unity's internal logic will take care and it is going to call it. So, that is why they are called as callbacks. We use the term callbacks to methods such as start and updates. So, now with this you have got a fair idea about what are methods. So, as I told, I am giving you one more example where you are going to add a method called, say, add, subtract, multiply, divide. All this can be considered as method, and all these methods are going to return a value. So, when how we write? We write int add or int multiply, int divide or int subtract, and after that in open close parenthesis we are going to mention it requires two parameters, and both these parameters are integers. We need one int a and int b, and then we in open close flower bracket we are going to now write the statement. We are going to write now here int a, that is between the open and close flower bracket we are going to write the statements, that is return a plus b. If it is multiplying, return a into, that is star b. If it is divide, return a divided by b, and if it is subtract we say return a minus b. So, this is how we are calling this function. So, now when we are calling this add multiply, we just write add 2 3 in the parenthesis, we give the two numbers and end it with semicolon. Multiply in open close parenthesis, mention the two numbers and close it with semicolon. Divide, we mention it with two numbers and in the parenthesis and end it with semicolon. So, this is how we declare a method and call the method. So, I think you have got a fair idea about how to use methods, and let us now practice by creating some methods in Unity and calling it in our next session. Thank you.